Hey everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I wanted to show y'all my favorite brushes. I always like watching these videos because I am always in the market for some new brushes, and honestly, I'm too cheap to spend like a shit ton of money on brushes. So when I see people talking about brushes that are inexpensive, I'm like, yes, queen, sign me up. I have a few brushes, not a few, I have a bunch of brushes here that I absolutely love. These are the brushes that I would go out and purchase first if like they burned in a fire or something, because knowing my luck, that shit would happen. These brushes are like my favorite brushes ever. I love them so freaking much, and I just wanted to share them with you guys because a lot of them are very inexpensive, and I know y'all like to save that coin. So let's just get into the video. Okay, so the first brush I want to talk about, when I thought of the idea of making this video, this brush was the first brush that came to my mind, and that's the BH Cosmetics Studio Pro No. 2 Tapered Powder Brush. This brush is absolutely amazing. It's great for bronzer. I used to use it for powder for like a hot minute, but then I just like stopped because it just wasn't great for powder. I love this for blush and bronzer. It's the perfect shape where it kind of just fits into the hollows of your cheeks. It creates that really nice blended out bronzer look. I like tapered brushes, and I think you will be able to tell by the amount of brushes that I show you in this video that are tapered, because you get kind of like this point where you get a lot of precision, and then the blend, like the sides here, you can use for blending, and I really do like that. It's very easy to blend with this brush, and I think that's why I love it so much. The next one is the BH Cosmetics Studio Pro Small Contour Brush. You can use this for cream contour. I think I have maybe like once or twice, but I love this for blending out thin products. Like say for example, you have a BB cream or like a BB water. If you've watched one of my get readies with me, I did use this brush to blend out my BB water, and I think it's phenomenal. It's soft enough that it can move around product and blend it out really nicely, but it's also dense enough where you can build coverage with it. Sometimes I do use this to blend concealer out under my eye, but there's another brush that I'm going to show you in a minute that I actually prefer much better. This one is very good for like all over face products. I don't know if my face is just smaller or something, but I really do like this brush for like foundation and really lightweight products. For foundation, one of my favorite foundation brushes ever is the Morphe E6, which is a premium flat buffing brush. You get a lot of space on the top of the brush, like the flat space. You get a lot of it, so it's very easy to blend it out. That being said, I don't like using this brush for every single foundation that I own. There are a few foundations that just like don't mix well with this, and I find it's like super thick foundations. I would say maybe like the BH Cosmetics foundation just like doesn't work well with it. The Hard Candy Glamouflage, not really this brush's best friend. I like this when I'm blending out more thin foundations or like more liquidy foundations. It's not good for creams in my opinion. Every time I apply the Smashbox Studio Skin Foundation, I always use this brush because it just looks so phenomenal. It blends really nicely. It creates an even layer without being too cakey. This is one layer of foundation, and I feel like I got that medium coverage that I wanted, and I just really like it for building up product. For blending out concealer under the eye, my favorite brush is the Real Techniques Contour Brush. I know it's meant for contour, and sometimes I do use it for contour, but 9 times out of 10, I typically use it to blend out concealer under my eyes. It just fits in the most perfect shape to do so. Again, it's very dependent on which concealer you use. A cream does not work well with this brush because it's a contour brush, but I find that using like swirling motions and then patting works the best. If you just pat, it can actually pick up some of the product underneath. But other than that, I really like this brush. Contour wise, I do use it. I like using other brushes more, but this is a last resort if I need a contour brush. The next brush we have here is like my favorite brush I own, aside from the tapered powder brush from BH Cosmetics. That one's like my all-time favorite. This one is the BH Cosmetics No. 4 brush. This is the tapered highlighting brush from the Rose Romance brush set. Out of all the brush sets on BH Cosmetics, I always found that the Rose Romance one really caught my eye, and a lot of the brushes from that brush set are actually really good, and if you're looking for just one brush set to pick up, I highly recommend that one. But this is my favorite highlight brush of all time. You just get the really nice taperedness to it, which, like I said at the beginning of this video, when you do have a tapered brush, I find it's just a little bit easier to blend out product. Like if I'm applying highlight, I can either just go on like this. I can apply it to my face directly and you get a little bit more of a blinding effect. Or if I want something more natural, I can go in with the side of the brush and I can just blend it out and it will look very natural and very like a glow from within type of look. And I really like how versatile this brush can be. Also personally think that this shape for highlighting is ideal. Again, for the whole blending thing, but I just think it's a lot easier. I've never been able to use a fan brush because when I do, it just leaves a stripe, but this one gives you kind of like that full coverage look without being too overpowering, if that makes any sense. Now we're going to briefly move on to eyes. One of my favorite blending brushes for the crease is the BH Cosmetics number 6 blending brush from the Rose Romance set. This one is very good for precise blending. I typically like using this brush in specific for darker colors. I have a few different brushes. It might get a little confusing, but this one I like to use for darker colors in the outer crease. I did include demos so you can kind of like see what I mean. I like this for a little bit more precise blending. I don't typically use this to apply a transition shade. I use another brush for that, but this one is good for applying like the secondary transition, like the shade afterwards, a little bit lower, if that is making any sense. This brush I didn't think I was gonna like, but after using it for so long, I love it. It's the BH Cosmetics Studio Pro number 8 small pointed crease brush. This is like the most perfect like bullet kind of crease brush. I typically use this for like extremely dark shades and defining the outer crease. It's very soft. It looks like it can be kind of dense, but surprisingly it's not. The same thing as the last brush. I like this for more precise blending, but even more precise than that brush. This one just gets in there a little bit more. It tucks the color in really tight. Next we have the Morphe M515. This is the detail crease brush. This one I love for detailing on the lower lash line. I like this brush a lot because it's very tiny and you can tuck the color in really close to the lash line, but it's soft enough where you can use it to blend out and it won't leave a hard line on your lower lash line, which I like. Now this brush is my favorite for actually blending colors into the crease, and it's the Crown C441 Pro Blending Crease Brush. The only thing I have to say about this brush that I don't like is that it does shed, but other than that, it feels very soft. It applies the color very uniform, but I don't like using this with darker colors. I think the reason being is because it's white, and if I use darker colors, it's just gonna like stain the bristles, and I'm not trying to do that. So I typically just use this for transition colors and to blend out the edges closest to my eyebrow. This next brush is the Morphe M559, which is the flat detail liner brush. I like this also for working on the lower lash line. I typically use this on my lid to kind of create that shadow liner effect. I've been doing that a lot lately, but that's because I really like the look it gives to my eyes. It creates a very hazy yet natural kind of eyeliner look. I don't like using liquid liner. I used to use it all the time, but I'm kind of over it now, and I like using shadow for liner. So this brush is perfect because it is completely flat. I hold it this way, you can barely see it. It's very thin, it makes it easy. It's also nice. It's kind of soft enough to blend out that color as well, but it doesn't leave a harsh line again, and that's why I like it. I like brushes that basically help themselves blend out. The next brush is the ecotools smudge brush. When I first bought this, I thought it was actually going to be kind of like stiff and hard, but this one is actually extremely soft, and this is great for applying black into the outer crease. Now, I keep talking about precision blending, but I personally like going from a lighter to dark color gradually, and that's why I'd use like 5 different brushes to do essentially the same thing, just detail a little bit more. But this is the last one in that whole process. It's the ecotools smudge brush, like I said, and I really like this. It's extremely soft, it blends really well, and packs on the color really nicely. Again, I use this on my lower lash line as well to kind of blend transitions down here, but I will do that before I go in with the black. If not, I'll use my other ecotools smudge brush that I have, because I have 2, and these are actually really amazing brushes. For my blush, I love this brush. It's that rhymed and that sounded weird. This is the e.l.f. blush brush. I recently kind of started getting back into this because I used to use it before, but I just like let it be for a while. But this is one of the best blush brushes I've ever used. I used to use another one, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute, but this one is so nice. Again, it's a tapered blending brush, so you do get that kind of blended precision like I was talking about earlier. You can either apply it and get really precise with the tip, or you can blend it out with the sides. I personally like using the sides for blush just because I like how it gives that very natural effect. I also like to use this for contour, and that's when I will use the tip to be very precise. I will kind of dig it into the hollows of my cheeks, and it creates a very beautiful natural contour. If you want to see how I did that, I will have my Aquaria tutorial linked up here, and you can go and check that out. I really love the method, and it just makes doing like contouring your face so much easier. The next brush is the BH Cosmetics V2 pointed blending brush. I don't use this brush all the time. I typically use this more on like a no makeup day. This is a very kind of flimsy brush. It's a lot flimsier than the BH Studio Pro tapered powder brush, and I like that for no makeup days like I was saying, because it just applies product a little bit lighter. And while I do love the tapered powder brush, I like that for full glam and when like I have foundation on. But if I'm going to be doing just concealer, maybe some powder, I'll use bronzer and blush with this, just because like I said, it's a little bit flimsier, so it doesn't hold onto product as much and just applies it beautifully and a little bit more natural, and I really like that. Then for powder, I think y'all have seen me use this brush in like a million videos, but it's the Real Techniques powder brush. This is just a standard powder brush, but I like to use it because it's dense in a way where it can hold a lot of powder but soft so that it doesn't cake up your face. I also like it because it has an even layer of bristles to apply foundation in a very even layer. It's not too flimsy and it's not too dense. It's just the right amount. It's like right in the middle, and it just looks so nice. I wanted to mention this brush today because I actually do really like it for blending out my under eye concealer. Although I typically don't use it on my channel just because I use it for more no makeup days, but it is the Sephora Pro Mini Flawless Airbrush brush. And I really do like this. This does give an airbrush look to the face, and it just blends out under eye concealer so good. This is the mini one that you get when you're a VIB Rouge. I'm pretty sure that they do have a full size. I'm just not sure how much it is, but it is a really good brush. It doesn't really do much more than the Real Techniques contour brush. There's a squirrel like right outside my window and it's like jumping from the trees. Okay. Well, I do think it's good for foundation because the bristles are so soft. Although it is more dense, you can build up your foundation that way. I typically just don't use this for foundation because I much prefer my other brushes. And I know that Emily Noel here on YouTube, she also really likes this for under eye concealer. So if you want to see it in action, go check out her channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you guys have any brush recommendations, make sure to leave them down in the comments because I would love to know. I'm actually still on the brush hunt for better brushes because like I love these brushes so much and I will use them until the end of time, but I just like trying out new brushes. Maybe I can switch up my routine and see what's good, you know? So if you have any recommendations, leave them in the comments. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video.